Welcome to the show. Today we are pleased to have our guest Barbie, who suffered a complete spinal cord lesion after a tragic climbing accident that miraculously only affected the parasympathetic part of her autonomic nervous system. This part of the nervous system focuses on energy conservation and storage. Everybody, welcome Barbie! Yay, Barbie!
Hello, it's so good to be here!
So Barbie, the world is dying to know. Please tell us about your tragic experience.
Well, I went on a hike one day. I took all the proper precautions. I wore my tinfoil helmet and I used my shoelace climbing rope so that I could be as safe as possible. However, halfway up the treacherous terrain, I realized I had forgotten my Barbie boots in my Malibu beach house. This severely affected my traction. Here's the helicopter footage of my climb.
Ooh, this mountain is so high. I'm so adventurous. Oh no, my safety gear! Ah!
Wow, that was some fall. What happened next? Luckily for Barbie, there was other mountain hikers, and they called an emergency response team. And sadly, this is how they found her.
Oh, that was so hard to watch.
I can imagine. Now here's a little bit about the injury. Barbie suffered a complete spinal cord lesion that cut off all communication between the areas below the injury and the brain. Signals that are running to or from the brain at the area of the injury were disrupted. Since this injury was above Barbie's lumbar or lower back level, it obstructed her control of her bladder and bowel function. Barbie, tell us how this affects your life.
Well, it's a little embarrassing, but I'm wearing a diaper right now. It's affected my ability to control when and where I should go to the bathroom because now it just happens. For example, here's what happened to me last night.
For more squeamish viewers, we recommend that you look away due to this graphic and disturbing content.
Oh no, I pooped again!
Wow, that was graphic.
You're telling me I woke up to this. It's disgusting, but I hope by sharing my story, I'm encouraging more people to climb safely.
Well, it could have been worse, Barbie. If the injury had affected you higher in your spinal cord, at the level of your heart or higher, it would have also affected your blood pressure regulation. If it had happened in your brainstem, it would have decreased your heart rate, affected blood pressure, respiration, constriction of your pupils, production of tears, and regulation of your abdominal organs.
That would have made going to the beach so hard.
Also, if it would have happened even higher in the brain, like in the hypothalamus, it would have disrupted your metabolic, behavioral functions, as well as lead to emotional displays and obesity.
No! I am so lucky. I will take pooping myself over fat any day. Do you know how hard I Barbie size in my Barbie home gym to keep this figure?
I can imagine. I've also just received word that a world-renowned neuroscientist is in the crowd today. Can we please welcome Beth? Beth, can you please tell us a little bit more about Barbie's injury?
Thank you for welcoming me. There's a lot to the parasympathetic nervous system. First of all, there are preganglionic axons that run from nuclei of the brain stem and the sacral spinal cord to the ganglia. They synapse with ganglia in or near target organs. Postganglionic axons run from the ganglia in or near target organs to the target organ. Acetylcholine travels from the brainstem to the second neuron and also from the second neuron to the face, lungs, heart, and GI tract. Acetylcholine also travels from the sacral spinal cord to the second neuron, where norepinephrine is released and travels to the bladder, rectum, and sexual organs. The receptors for these neurotransmitters are muscarinic.
Thank you. I really didn't understand a word of that.
Oh, I did. One of my jobs is as a Barbie nurse, and I happen to know a bit about the parasympathetic nervous system also. Its main functions are to decrease cardiac activity, facilitate digestion, increase secretions in the lungs, eyes, and mouth, control convexity of the lens in the eye, constrict the pupil, control voiding of the bowels and bladder, and also control sexual organs.
Each nerve has a different function. For instance, cranial nerve 3, which is the oculomotor nerve, constricts the pupil and increases convexity of the lens. Cranial nerve 7 is the facial nerve, and it affects salivation. Cranial nerve 9 is the glossopharyngeal nerve, and it plays a role in salivation and tear secretion. There are sacral efferents, which regulate the emptying of bowels and bladder, and the sexual organs. None of the nerves in the parasympathetic nervous system innervate any limbs or the body wall. And finally, cranial nerve 10, which consists of 75% of efferents and the vagus nerve, decreases heart rate, decreases cardiac contraction force, increases mucus secretion, bronchoconstriction, increases glycogen synthesis in the liver, and increases glandular secretions.
Wow, that was a lot of information. It sounds like you were pretty lucky.
You bet!
This concludes our show today. Thanks again to our neuroscientist and to you, Barbie, for being so brave and sharing your story. We wish Barbie the best of luck. May you control your bowels in the future. See you next time!